the public perception has gone the way you wouldn't expect it to go for someone who's trying to file for defamation. It's
Yeah.
not looking good for Brett. That's what I'm trying to say in a nice way. As Audrey already said, we have talked about the text messages in the previous show. And as you can see here, we have a couple of shows where we discuss these text messages. Even RJ, even one of the text messages got you caught up. You were playing devil's advocate. You thought you had it all figured out. Then I
Yeah.
pulled up. Then I pulled out that text message, and you were like, "Buh, buh, 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 buh."
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah. Well, yeah. So, I mean, it does seem, so let's see, it does seem that there are indications, as I said, that Brad was aware of certain things. The question is whether the things he was aware of and if he played a role to the extent to which he did play a role. Uh, the question would then be, how would that, so what would that uh, qualify as? Uh, what legal consequences would that bring with it? So maybe, it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. But Brad is obviously convinced because he's still going after people. So he's obviously convinced that the Mississippi cases will not have negative consequences.
well, that's kind of funny though. If you still in a case, they haven't removed you from it, so there is still a possibility. I think we talked about this also in the previous show. There is still a possibility he can be found guilty. There is still, because he's still on the lawsuit. His name is still on there. So that leaves always that question: will he be charged or will he not be charged? Maybe maybe he believes he will not be charged, but it doesn't mean that he won't.
Yeah.
And then you start a defamation case. If it at the end, so that defamation case will be running up until the Mississippi case is closed, right? You cannot say it's a defamation if he's found guilty.
So
Or am I wrong?
I so I don't know how
The
the
logic.
so logically the one has to do with the other, but I don't know how the proceedings go. I do imagine that. So this I don't, and maybe if there's some lawyer amongst our followers, more specialized in these cases, please let us know. But the question is, let's say when or no, when Pat made the remark, he did not know for certain whether what had happened or not. So I don't know to what extent that can play a role, but I do think that it seems logical to me that if Brad does get convicted, then what Pat said, or at least if Brad gets convicted for what said that Brad allegedly did, then I don't know to what extent that would have retroactive effect. So that to me is not clear, but it does seem to me that, so logically speaking, that you cannot take one case, the you cannot take the and that's what Brad is doing. He's trying to separate the cases from one another. So he's not talking about the Mississippi case at all. He's just talking about what Brad said about what Pat said about him. So yeah,
You called me a thief. You called me a thief.
yeah,
I'm not convicted yet.
yeah,
A month later, I got convicted. No, you called me a thief. before I got convicted. How can you call me a thief before you convicted? Allegedly, this is
Yeah.
how it's playing out right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, weird. To me, it's a bit weird. But to bring it back to the show, we talked about different stuff before this. This text messages. We have a whole playlist about this quagmire. Brett Favre versus Pat McAfee and others, and the others are Shannon Sharp and the the babyface deleter, Chad White. So you can see him here. He exposed some of the text messages a couple of weeks before. And since then, it has been a bit, the public perception has gone a bit the way you wouldn't expect it to go for someone who's trying to file for defamation. It's
Yeah.
not looking good for Brett. That's what I'm trying to say in a nice way.